Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this next installment of our Town Hall series on accreditation. Today we're going to be looking at all of Standard 3, and we're looking at human resources, we're looking at plant facilities, physical resources, technology, and then financial liabilities and financial planning. So we have a number of presentations to get through, and I'll introduce the first standard here, Standard 3A, looking at human resources, and Ron Gluck will take it away. Ron?
Can anyone hear? No, I'll take my mic. I'll take the mic just so people can actually hear me. Welcome, and those of you who don't know me, my name is Ron Gluck, and I work here in admin services, but I think I know everyone here in the audience, so I'm okay. What Standard 3A is basically for human resources, so I'll go to the first slide. And what we're looking for here is the institutional integrity and quality that we are actually serving here at Mission College. So what we're basically doing is looking at all the people that we do hire here at Mission College, and we're looking both for academics and classified and unclassified staff here. So for in the academic realm, we're actually looking at making sure that all the people that do work here or teach here, whether they're adjunct or full-time, they all meet the state minimum qualifications. And those are dictated by the state. However, when we do our hiring here, we do look at the minimum qualifications when we review the applications. And then even during the entire selection process, it goes to the district office and they verify the state minimum qualifications based on their transcripts or any employment verifications if it's a trade, such as culinary, which may not require a full degree for teaching, but more experience. And then for classified, we basically go through the Personnel Commission guidelines. So it's basically split up between whether you're classified or certificated and how our process is determined. And for the qualifications and quality, we go through the Personnel Commission. They actually will check the applications before they actually will test. Most classified positions require an examination. Sometimes it involves an interview or a practicum at the district office, and then once we actually get a request from an office here, that's that list from the district office, and that's how we do our hiring process. So it's based on a merit system, and it's really out of our hands here on the campus as opposed to certificated where we're actually looking at the applications. For classified, they actually give us the names that we can choose from. Each job in the requires different experience based on the position. So what are we trying to do with all these things? We're trying to meet the needs of LA Mission College, we meet the needs of the student population, and we're trying to meet the institutional mission and goals. I should actually put on my glasses, that might help a little bit better. So getting back just a review for faculty qualifications, we want to make sure that we actually are employing qualified faculty here. So the Academic Senate here at Mission College does have their own faculty hiring procedures, which have been written and approved by the president. We actually do our own self-recruitment, and we also use the recruitment from the district office, in which we use a computer-based, internet-based application system where anybody can actually apply for the jobs worldwide, and then if they meet the minimum qualifications, we will have a review committee and they will actually read them and move forward names for interviews. So all the job announcements include the application duties and responsibilities, and we make sure that, and that each one of those, it also states the mission statement and goals to make sure that those people that do want to apply here and teach here, they know what Mission College is actually looking for and what we want. We get to evaluations, and all evaluations of all personnel are systematic and they're stated in intervals. All evaluations are based on the collective bargaining agreement units, and here I think we have 6 different units, including supervisory, 1521A, 1521, 99, and each of those have different really requirements of what actually is looked for in evaluations. In the certificated realm, there's the whole probation process or the tenure process, which is a 4-year process, and that's all laid out of who is actually on the committees. When it comes to classified employees, Most of them are evaluated once a year come June on their birthday, except for the supervisory unit, which is June 30th deadline date for each year. The system, there actually was a belt system by the district office called, it's an early alert system, they just call it EASY. And that actually notifies all the supervisors of an upcoming classification, classified employee who does need an evaluation. The problem what we are having here, which is one of our improvement plans, is even though it does actually send an evaluation, some of the administrators don't follow that and they don't actually submit the application or the evaluation. So what we do here on our campus is I actually keep a log here of all the evaluations for the classified staff that have been submitted to us. And I keep on sending out a reminder to the supervisors saying that this evaluation is due. However, my job isn't necessarily to actually do the evaluations. All I can do is advise the supervisors to do them. And so we have some people who have been working, 20-some years and maybe only have like 10 evaluations. So they're not getting evaluated yearly. So we're trying to get a better balance on that, a handle on that, to make sure that we actually are evaluating all of our staff, classified staff in that realm. Certificated is pretty more specific about when they actually have a full evaluation and then yearly evaluations. One of the other things that the accreditation is looking for is if we have a sufficient number of faculty members here teaching, and that's also between the full-time and adjunct. Currently, we have 86 full-time faculty and 282 adjunct faculty. The ratio, I think, is 56% for the full-time for the FON ratio. We are hiring a whole bunch more. We plan on hiring 12 this fiscal year or this calendar year. So we're trying to increase our full-time compared to adjunct. So the more full-time teachers we do have, the less adjunct we'll have to actually make up the load. The accreditation also looks at the orientation and professional development for our staff here, both classified and certificated. Every fall, there's a new faculty orientation held for all new full-time and adjunct faculty members. The department chairs should be working with, and they do provide guidance to all the faculty in the development of the syllabus and the assessments of SLOs within the classes or in their sections. And when last year or 2 years ago, what it was, I don't know the exact date, is the Eagle's Nest was opened up, and that's down, well, actually it's on the floor level of the Learning Resource Center, in which we have sponsored professional growth opportunities. And in the spring of 15, they had 16 different events, and it is open for all faculty to go in there and use at any time. The accreditation looks at equity and diversity. What we do here is the LA Mission College adheres to the LACCD non-discrimination policy. LACCD sponsors an employee assistance program, and during the year, our liaison here is Diana Bonilla, and she puts on about 8 to 10 events every year, but basically once a month, that all employees are eligible to attend, and they range from money management to retirement to personal feelings and dealing with personal growth. And she does take suggestions for future events. So if you do have any ideas that you want or to meet with your committee, I know Rod had something to do with staff development just within internally. So we had one of those last year. And we actually have an Office of Diversity and Equity and Inclusion, which promotes diversity and equal employment opportunities. When it comes to that, for all interviews that we do have either a compliance officer or an equal employment officer representative on every committee to make sure that everyone is, when they're interviewed, they're actually not discriminated against, I guess if you want to say that, or we're actually looking at the whole process to make sure that no one is being discriminated against during the interview process. Then we want professional ethics here at LA Mission College. And so all faculty here must adhere to the Faculty Code of Conduct of the Academic Senate. Back in 2012, we also did an anti-bullying pledge. For classified staff, there is a handbook which delineates the requirements to proper behavior. And we try to discriminate, we make sure that there is no discrimination here against anybody, whether it's students, faculty, or staff. When it comes to confidentiality, we try to be, with all of our documents, secure as what we can. The district office does maintain all personnel paperwork, but there are some that are maintained here on campus. They're under lock and key at all times, so if those individuals here want to review them, they can either go through certain offices and request that information, and that information is only revealed only back to that person that is requesting. It doesn't go back to the supervisor. So we made sure that all confidentiality is done. And that's it. Nice and short and sweet. Questions? I'm going to throw it out there. No questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. All right, we're going a little out of order here. We'll go ahead and jump to 3C, and then we'll get into 3B and 3D together later on. 3C looks at technology resources, and Rod, you're the person that can tell us about this. So Rod, come on up.
Thanks, Kelly. So I'm Rod Austria. I'm the IT manager here at Mission College and also the co-chair for 3C along with Ryan Yamada. So we had a great team this year along with Eric Retke, Faith Colt, Francis Wynn, David Jordan, and Danny Villanueva to help with this standard, which is all about the technology on our campus. There's 5 subsections for 3C, starting with number 1, technology services, professional support, facilities, hardware, and software are appropriate and adequate to support the institution's management and operational functions, academic programs, teaching and learning and support services. Subsection 2, the institution continuously plans for, updates, and replaces technology to ensure its technological infrastructure, quality, and capacity are adequate to support its mission, operations, programs, and services. Number 3, the institution assures that technology resources at all locations where it offers courses, programs, and services are implemented and maintained to assure reliable access, safety, and security. 4, the institution provides appropriate instruction and support for faculty, staff, students, and administrators in the effective use of technology and technology systems related to its program, services, and institutional operations. And lastly, the institution has policies and procedures that guide the appropriate use of technology in the teaching and learning processes. So let's take a closer look at each one of these, starting with this first one, providing the adequate technology. So essentially there's local campus IT and LACCD or district IT, which provide support for the college. The local campus IT is there to maintain and keep equipment updated for the local campus and kind of address more of the local college technology issues, whereas LACCD IT supports the overall infrastructure across all the colleges. And this includes the district-wide systems, including student information systems. So some of the projects as a result of this that we've done recently have included Office 365 cloud services, improving our Wi-Fi infrastructure and our wireless, constant updating of our SLO or student learning objective system, redundancy in fiber optics that we're constantly putting in to improve the network infrastructure. A lot of this technology is running over our network, and so without that, it becomes very difficult to run these systems properly. And so I'll be speaking a little bit later on the section about reliability in terms of our network infrastructure. And then finally, our phone system, which was put in a few years ago, but we're looking to upgrade this as well. It's a voice over IP system. The team did identify a few actionable improvement plans. Number one, to look at improved processes for using surveys, both from students, faculty, and staff, to determine where our technology needs need to go and where we need to focus. This will help us in revising our plans for future updates and changes with our technology. Number two, because we are relying so much on the technology, we need to have a comprehensive disaster recovery plan so that in the event we have some kind of a major catastrophe on campus, we have the ability to recover from that and minimize downtime with the technology as much as possible. Number three, update both our Mission College Technology Master Plan and the Technology Replacement Plan, which was a 5-year plan that was put in place a few years ago, but we are in need of updating it and revising it for the coming years. So those were the 3 areas that we found we were needing to have some improvement on. Section 2 talks about updates and replacement of our technology, making sure that it's up to date and current. This involves quite a bit of planning, and there's a couple of, there's actually a few plans that are involved in this. There's a district-wide technology strategic plan that's put together by the district and the District Technology Council, which is made up of a group of the IT managers across the district. There's our local Mission College Technology Master Plan, which is a 5-year plan that's developed here at our college. This is mainly done through the Technology Committee that's made up of not only IT staff, but also classified staff and faculty. And then lastly, our Mission College Technology Replacement Plan, which ensures that we keep our technology current and up to date. It basically tracks, since we can project how long this technology or this equipment will last, it basically tracks when we'll need to be replacing it down the road. So if we know a computer needs to be replaced 5 years from now, we have a plan in place and know approximately how many computers are going to be replaced in the coming years. These technology plans are aligned with our other college plans, including the Education Master Plan and Facilities Master Plan. And this is done through the shared governance process. Like I mentioned, in the Technology Committee is made up of other people besides IT staff. So it gives an opportunity to make sure that other people are aware of what's happening with IT and with our technology. I mentioned about the District Technology Council, which is a council made up of all the other colleges. So that keeps us in alignment with what's going on with the district and including what's happening with their master plan or their strategic plan. So as a result, what this has led to is recent replacements and updates. So just to give you an example, some of the things that we've done recently, we've replaced just about every computer in the LRC and library with what's called virtual desktop infrastructure, or VDI, also referred to as thin clients. So that was a major project just recently completed where we replaced just about 170 workstations. Upgrading of the student information system to PeopleSoft, which has been in the works for a number of years, but that is planning on rolling out later this fall. It's going to be a year-long process. Of course, it's affecting the district, the whole district. But this is just another example of just some of the replacements and upgrades that's constantly being done with technology. Here on our local campus, changing our LMS system, our learning management system, where we're moving to a system called Canvas. So that's something in the works right now and will be in place here later this year. Future updates that we have planned, phone system upgrades and an emergency notification system that will be integrated with the phones that's planned later this year, as well as campus Wi-Fi upgrades where we're improving our coverage for Wi-Fi, knowing that most students today will have at least one device on campus, if not multiple, and just the increased need to provide adequate wireless coverage for both faculty, staff, and students. Section 3 talks about the reliability and the accessibility of the technology. So in terms of accessibility, one of the most difficult things I think as we all start using technology is logging in, the logging process, and remembering passwords. And so there's a system called the single sign-on, which tries to maintain where you just have a single username and password, right? Not having to remember multiple credentials. There's also going to be coming with the new SIS system, a new student portal, which makes it easier for students to access their information. This would be a web-based system, which is not currently available with the SIS. Office 365 Cloud Services increases the ability to access your data, whether you're off campus or on campus. In terms of safety and security, IT is involved in both the physical security, whether you're talking about camera systems or building access controls. It's becoming more and more common that there's a technology component within those. So technology is now involved in those areas that we, at one time, were not. Mass notification systems, so that in the event either an emergency or for outreach purposes, we need to send out mass notification to students, faculty, and staff. We have that capability through Blackboard, which is a third-party system. And also, as I mentioned, with our phone upgrades, we're going to be having a mass notification system built into the phones as well. And then there's the virtual part of the security that is a little bit harder to see, but is a necessity with any technology. And that includes things like our enterprise firewall systems. This is one of those systems that is heavily supported by district. And then in terms of reliability, as I was mentioning earlier, we're relying more and more on our technology, so we need to make sure that it is reliable, accessible at all times. So we try to adhere to an industry standard called N+1 redundancy, which basically means that there's some failover in the event that there's a problem with the system. That we have some way to recover from that almost immediately. On our campus here, we have 2 data centers, one on the East Campus and one here on the main campus, where we split up our system so that in the event one system fails, there's another system ready to take over. In addition, if there was something happen to one of these 2 data centers, the other data center is self-sufficient enough to continue running. We're looking more and more at virtual machine technologies for both servers and desktops. What this means is that it gives us more flexibility to recover from some kind of an issue. It makes it much, much easier for us from an IT perspective to recover these systems, whereas before it would take 3 or 4 days, now it can take a matter of minutes to recover. And then our data centers, both data centers as well as all of our distribution closets that contain all of our network equipment have battery backups, so that in the event we lose power, we can sustain that through battery backups. And then I mentioned a little bit earlier about our fiber optic ring. So we have a fiber network that goes across this main campus here, as well as to the East Campus. And this basically just gives us the connectivity between the buildings and our data centers. This as well is redundant, so that if the event there's a connection problem with one part of that fiber connection, there's multiple connections that can recover from that. Section 4, which is providing adequate training for faculty, staff, students for all this technology. So some of the training that's involved here on campus, we have the Eagle's Nest that provides instruction mostly for faculty and staff for things like I had mentioned earlier, Office 365, but they also provide instruction for things like Canvas, the LMS system. We have flex activities every year for faculty, where we try to focus in on a specific technology that we've identified to be of a need for faculty to be trained on. There's Microsoft IT Academy, so certain Microsoft products, including Office, and also some of the, if one were to want to get into more of an IT career, Microsoft IT Academy is a subscription that we have here on campus and is made available to faculty and staff. And then another example of a training activity is the certification that's required for online instructors to make sure that they are familiar with the LMS system and can properly provide instruction online. Lastly, IT is regularly attending conferences and other training opportunities. You know, I think we all know how quickly this technology changes, so to keep up to date with what's coming down the road, I think is essential, so that we know what options are available to meet our technology needs. So conferences, training opportunities is one of the best ways to keep on top of what's out there. There was one actionable improvement plan that the team identified in this section, and it's somewhat related to what we saw earlier, where we use the survey data that's collected throughout the year from students, faculty, and staff to look at what we need to do from a training perspective. Section 5, oops, too quickly, is the last section of Standard 3C, which has to do with policies and procedures. A lot of this is done from the district level, so LACCD will establish policies when it comes to security, whether it's with email systems or internet usage or distance education. And then through the District Technology Council, which I'm a member of, they will discuss these policies, provide recommendations, and take a look at how to best implement it from a local college level. And then one of the examples is policy E105, which allows for the student privacy rights that are in accordance with FERPA. And then the shared governance process provides us a way to get input at a local college level for those that are affected by these policies, so that it gives an opportunity to discuss the policies, make minor modifications if needed, and also establish what our local policies are here at the local college. So that's Standard 3C. There was 5 sections we went over, and it's something that we're constantly working at and looking at. I think the staff here, the IT staff, does a great job with just maintaining the equipment and making sure that it's running properly for all of you. And I'm just very proud of the work that they all do. So, does anybody have any questions? Yes? So the question was whether all these presentations would be posted somewhere, and they will be posted along with a video of these presentations on the accreditation section of the website. Yes? Oh, okay. Any other questions? Yes? It has. So beyond our local college here, as far as disaster recovery goes, we are starting to store some data in cloud services, just a limited amount. But then we're also looking at using the other campuses as a disaster recovery location. So all the colleges in the district are linked together, and it gives us already part of the work has already been done to provide a separate location for recovering from a disaster. So all it takes is just getting some additional equipment housed in the data centers from the other colleges, and then we're able to synchronize data to that other location. Yep. Any other questions? Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Rod. While Danny's uploading his material for standard 3B and 3D, just a reminder for folks, we have some surveys out. We'd appreciate your feedback on how the town halls are going. Patty, you don't have a pencil? I don't think we have any pencils. Borrow one from your neighbor, or yeah. But anyway, we'd appreciate your feedback on the surveys on the town halls. And then also as a reminder, our next town hall meeting is next week, next Tuesday at 12:30, looking at all of Standard 2, instructional programs, library, and student services. So that should be a good one as well. So. Any further questions before we get into 3B? Any general accreditation questions? Deborah, go ahead. The exit interviews for the accreditation team? They have not given us a schedule yet. You're talking about the accreditation team, right, that's coming here? Is that referring? Yeah, they have not given us a schedule yet. Well, yeah, there's speculation. We may not find out their schedule until the first day they come here, the 7th. So I'm sorry? I have no idea. Yeah, it's really their schedule, what Dr. Akeda and her team, yeah. They'll let us know. I mean, hopefully we'll know by Monday on the 7th, yeah. But we don't know any of their schedules yet, so I don't think we'll know till the day they first show up. But as soon as we find out, we'll get that out to the campus at large. So, Danny?
Good. Thank you. And I don't have a fancy PowerPoint presentation. I'm just going to go straight off the guide. But if anybody has any questions, let me know. So physical resources, I'm doing facilities and finance, the 2 Fs. So for physical resources, once again, the Accreditation Commission is looking at the facilities. The key points out of those 4 things is that the facilities are clean, safe, and functional. And it's the responsibility of the facilities team to be sure that facilities are in a situation, in a position where there's no disruption in the delivery of education and it's seamless. They also want to look at that the way the facilities are constructed and are developed or integrated with your educational plan. So the driver for this institution is the ed plan. The ed plan comes first, then we do an overlay of the facilities plan to be sure we're building the types of buildings that are going to meet the educational goals established by the institution. On 3A, the institution assures safe and sufficient physical resources at all locations where it offers courses, programs, and learning support services. They are constructed and maintained to assess safety, security, and heartful learning and working environment. Since the last accreditation report and since the last full accreditation cycle for 7 years, we've had 3 buildings open up, right? The East Campus, Culinary Arts, and that goes in alignment to be able to deliver the types of services we need. We've also have made an effort to add facility staff to be able to keep the place clean, safe, and functional. Sometimes that's a challenge because we deal with the Personnel Commission and we don't have the benefit of a single site district that's not a merit system to be able to staff appropriately. Wally and his team, in alignment with the Facilities Committee and the Workforce Environment Committee, is continuously assessing that our needs are being met. One of the challenges with this standard right now that we all know is we're a small campus, right? So since the last accreditation cycle to this, 3 years ago we were on a decline, right, with students. But now the last 2 fiscal years we've had increase in students, and we're also increasing our fund. We have more student equity money, more student support services money, and we're also now getting adult ed money. So one of the challenges for this perspective for our campus, for this standard, is we don't have enough room. We don't have enough room. So sometimes not having capacity, it's not a good thing, but it's not a bad thing. And it's something that we have to work on. I don't know if it's going to be a finding or whatnot, but we can't just build buildings. But this campus is making every effort. We only have these 2 sites. We don't have any satellite sites, so we don't have to worry about other off-sites. Number 2, the institution plans, acquires, and builds and maintains and upgrades or replaces its physical resources, including facilities, equipment, land, and other assets, in a manner that assures effective utilization and the continuing quality necessary to support its programs and services and to achieve its missions. 2 of the things that the facilities has, and it's mentioned in this, and we're required to have, is we have a cost of ownership analysis. So when we opened up the culinary arts, and I'll use culinary arts as an example, we have a cost of ownership, right? Because after we turn it on, what do? We turn on the lights, right? They're going to use a stove, they're going to use the refrigerators, and refrigerators and stoves have a life cycle. So in our plan, we have to know at what point in time we're going to cycle those off and buy new ones. For HVAC, right? Those walking machines and the bikes, they have a life cycle. They have X amount of hours. So district put together the cost of ownership for all our buildings that basically says, look, 5 years down the line, this is what you have to do. 6 years down the line, this is what you have to do. So that's how we plan effectively. Now, there are other items that aren't included in that. Now, you'll notice some painting that's going on. You'll notice some restroom retrofitting that's going on. Last year, we had tiles replaced. That's what's called deferred maintenance. So we have a deferred maintenance plan where I get together with Wally and we go over what things are wear and tear. You know, just like on our house, right? We know when we need to change the roof, right? We have a 30-year roof. We need to know what year we're into it. We know when we're going to change the plumbing. We know when we're going to do certain things. We do no different here. And we do a 5-year deferred maintenance plan, and that's submitted every October to the Chancellor's office. Then we get funding from them. They don't fund us fully 100%, but they give us funding, and then we do what the prioritization is to be sure that the campus is functional. Recently, we haven't acquired any property or anything, so we really don't have to speak to this. Hopefully, the next accreditation cycle will have acquired some other stuff and done some more buildings because we'll have had a bond, but I'm just wishfully thinking on that. And we do our best. One of the things that I enjoy is walking through it. We have a beautiful campus, and it does take a lot to maintain it. So Wally and his team do a really good job, and we reference that. Number 3, to assure the feasibility and effectiveness of the physical resources in supporting instructional programs and services, the institution plans and evaluates its facilities and equipment on a regular basis, taking utilization and other relevant data into account. We do a thing called Fusion, and it's a program that we really look at the usage. So we look at all the space utilization and how we're being used, and we report that up to the state. And we have to be sure that it's matching up against our educational goals and objectives. I mean, we determine that we can get so many FTS and we can have so much head count based on those things. So that's something that we constantly monitor. I know a lot of times we may see an empty classroom and someone may want to use it as an office or something else, but we're not allowed to repurpose that. So we do have to do this effective plan to be able to ensure that we're utilizing the space as it was intended to do, and the students are realizing the full benefit of that. Long-range capital plans support institutional improvement goals and reflect projections of the total cost of ownership of new facilities and equipment. This kind of ties into number 2. We do have a long-range plan. As you know, that plan was developed, you guys have a few years ago. before the bond, right? So we know in the long-range plan, we have the property down there to do athletic fields. We're going to finish up this. We're going to build a student services building. We're going to finish up the library, where it's going to be both floors, down at Smiling, and then downstairs at the campus center is going to do the Learning Resource Center. So we do have these plans in place. It's just getting the money behind them, and we do align that with the educational plans and what's supposed to be done. Questions on facilities? Let's go to 3D. Now, I know everybody here went to the previous report and then looked at this report and is wondering, I can't believe they changed it, right? This one got changed quite a bit. This one got changed quite a bit from the last accreditation cycle. Well, why did it get changed? Number one, the accreditation standard for 3D was really written for single-site districts. Okay, we're a multi-campus district, and it was really written for single-site districts. There's, 113 community college districts in the state, and out of those, 108 are single-site districts. So it doesn't take into account when you have two different types of financial institutions. So I'll walk you through the changes. First one, financial resources are sufficient to support and sustain student learning programs and services and improve instructional effectiveness. The distribution of resources supports the development, maintenance, allocation, and reallocation and enhancement of programs and services. The institution plans and administrates its financial affairs with integrity and in a manner that ensures fiscal stability. This is an important item because no accreditation standard will get you in trouble quicker than this one. And those last two words are the most critical: fiscal stability. I mean, everybody pat themselves on the back, because I'll tell you why. Out of the 9 campuses, we're the smaller 3, right? Southwest, Harbor, and us, and we're the second smallest. If you go back the last 7 years of accreditation cycle, we are an anomaly. I mean, our numbers and level of efficiency and our solvency compares that to 2 other campuses, East and Pierce, right? What's the difference between East, Pierce, and Mission? Right? They're the big dogs in the district. But our level of efficiency here at Mission is really second to none. And a lot of that credit goes to everybody sitting here. And one constant thing that's been in place here is a faculty leadership, because they play a huge role in fiscal stability by working with management on the schedule and class loads. And that's huge, because in the last 2 accreditation cycles, how many presidents have we had? 4? 4 presidents. How many of me have we had? About 2, 3. How many Michaels have you had? About 3. How many Chris's have you had? About 2, right? But the faculty leadership has been here, and they've been able to contribute to fiscal stability. So that item just doesn't go to my office and me look at it as spreadsheets. Now, this one here, when we're writing the standard and the accreditation team is evaluating it, they go to the mission statement. Okay, this is one that is data-driven. This has to be data-driven. We have to statistically prove that what we're doing and how we're spending our money ties back into the mission statement. And that's critical, and that's what the evaluation team is going to be looking for. The institution and the institution's mission goals are the foundation for financial planning, and financial planning is integrated with and supports all institutional planning. The institution has policies and procedures to ensure sound financial practices and fiscal stability. Appropriate financial information is disseminated throughout the institution in a timely manner. So here we're going back to the mission statement and data-driven. We have to be sure everything ties in. We have our monthly budget and planning meetings and college council meetings where we disseminate information. If you go to those meetings, typically I'll give like a state overview, then I'll give a district overview, then I'll get a campus overview. And we make that information available. Sometimes it's kind of cumbersome, but we disseminate it as to what our position is. I also attend, and so does several other people on this campus, the District Budget and Planning Committee. We get information from them and try to filter it here to keep you guys as informed as possible. And because, budget and planning is a cross-section of all represented people on campus, I'm hoping that your representative is going back and reporting back out to you as to what we're discussing on the financial situation of the campus. If you know me, I'm never going to be happy. I'm never going to be happy, and I'm always going to be worried. The day you see me happy and worried is going to be probably the day I retire. But otherwise, I'm a nervous Nelly, and I'm never happy when it comes to money. The institution clearly defines and follows the guidelines and procedures for financial planning and budget development, with all constituents having appropriate opportunity to participate in the development of institutional plans and budgets. Here on this campus, once again, we get our direction. We get our direction from the district. They give us our money. 92% of our money is budget. 92% of our budget is personnel and benefits. The other 8% is divided up amongst utilities and supplies. When we do have variances, I tell you, we do work very well with the campus leadership to determine what purchases need to be made. And we're currently going through that exercise right now. We have some instructional money that we get from the state every year. And Michael, Chris, and myself go into our program review. We extract those requests that have been done, those that have been approved by budget and planning, and then any overcap money will make those purchases. And we're fortunate that we'll be able to do that this year. And once again, that will align to the institutional learning outcome, the program learning outcome, and the program learning outcome, and then down to each department. Fiscal stability. The institution planning reflects a realistic assessment of financial resources available, develop a financial resources partnership, and expenditure requirements. This is one where we work with the district closely. Once again, the priority is for the district to be solvent. Okay, because we are one district. The district to be solvent, and then here at the campus, we have to coordinate with that district that they're fully funding us in order to be solvent, to be able to meet our goals and expectations. Number 5, to assure the financial integrity of the institution and responsible use of its financial resources, the internal control structure has appropriate control mechanisms and widely disseminates dependable and timely informational and sound financial decision making. The institution regularly validates its financial management practices and uses the results to improve internal control system. This is where we work with our auditors and we have checks and balances. You know, when you initiate a purchase order, you initiate it, goes to your dean, it goes to Michael, then it goes to my office, then we check to see if there's money there. Those are institutional controls to be sure we're spending money according to its objective, and that it also aligns with what you're supposed to do. Now, the last part talks about evaluation methods. This is something that you're going to hear during the accreditation visit in long term. We are in the 3rd year of a new funding cycle for the district as a whole. So the District Budget and Planning Committee at the end of this fiscal year is going to be evaluating that funding model to see how it aligns and were we able to meet our fiscal goals. And it's going to be challenging because out of the 9 campuses, 4 of them are really only meeting the fiscal goals, and then you have 5 that are struggling. So is it a campus issue or is it a financial planning issue at the district? And that's something that's going to be done at the district, and we'll be keeping you informed. And no doubt we're going to have to report that to the Accreditation Commission after that, as they have their own team. Institutional financial documents, including the budget, have a high degree of credibility and accuracy and reflect appropriate allocations and uses of financial resources to support student learning programs and services. Well, you know, the budget's a changing document. It's a changing document. We do budget updates every quarter. There's certain dates of the year which are critical. Typically November, January, and May is where you can have the biggest changes in your budget legislatively and as the state disseminates different information. As we get that information, we do update our website, make that information available. I have budget in my office. I think we keep one in the library. We keep one in the president's office. So if anybody's ever interested in seeing a 300-page document, you know, I'll send you the URL. Don't print it on our dime, print it on yours. Institutional response to external audit findings and are comprehensive, timely, and communicated appropriately. At the end of every calendar year, we have 2 audits. One that's done internally by Arnold Blanchard and his group, and then we have 2 external audit groups that are going to look at the general fund and specially funded programs. Those auditors come to us to evaluate what we're doing here on the campus, whether we're doing it appropriate or not in compliance with, you know, federal and state laws, then they report back to us. So if we're not doing something right and we're not like collecting cash or depositing money right from the bookstore, as an example, then we have to write what's called a corrective action plan. How are we going to correct this thing that we're not doing appropriately? But we have to be in compliance. Luckily, in the time I've been here, we've been very fortunate where we have really had any real serious issues. The only issue that kind of keeps reoccurring in our audit that the accreditation team may be interested in is we're a small campus. So typically they call something chain of command or custody of money. So typically when Steve gets a check, when Steve gets a check for something and for when he does a fundraiser, Steve's supposed to get that check, give it to somebody else to acknowledge they got the check. Then he's supposed to bring it to the business office, and then somebody in the business office is to get the check there. Then somebody else has to do the deposit slip. Then somebody else has to do the deposit. Then somebody else has to verify the deposit. So there's in an appropriate chain of command for one transaction, you need to have 7 people, sometimes. So it's all different. Well, we're not staffed a lot. We're a small campus, so occasionally this comes out in our audit because we may have one person doing 2 activities. Number 8, the institution's financial and internal control systems are okay. I did that one already. Number 9, the institution has sufficient cash flows and reserves. The institution has sufficient cash flows and reserves to maintain stability, support strategies for appropriate risk management, and when necessary, implement contingency plans to meet financial emergencies and unforeseen occurrences. There's a difference between cash and budget, right? We all have a budget that we do every month and we're going to adhere to, but then it's how much actual cash do I have in the bank? This is a district one, okay? We don't monitor cash flows. In my previous life, at my previous campus and when I was with the LA County Office of Education, the first thing I did every morning is I looked at my cash on hand. Does anybody ever in the morning go see how much money you have in the bank? How much gas do I need to put? How much this? Okay, we do this as a district too. We do this as a district. Jeanette Gordon should be doing this every morning, seeing how much actual cash we have in what's called the county super fund. Number 10, the institution. The institution practices effective oversight of finances, including the management of financial aid, grants, external funding programs, contractual relationships, auxiliary organizations or foundations, and institutional investments in assets. The institutional investment and assets are done at the district, but what we have to do here is our office will work with Dennison Financial Aid to be sure that financial aid maintains an integrity. Every financial aid, we have to do an annual report that reports kind of the default status, how many of our loans in default. And we have to maintain a small percentage because if a lot of your loans are in default, then you lose the ability to give loans to your student base. So that's something that's real critical and that the accreditation team, but we're really good. And I gotta tell you, our financial aid team in Dennis is one of the best in the state. Grants, external funding programs. In my business office, we're constantly monitoring the grants, seeing that we're not overspending, but that we're staying within the regulations. Contractual relationships, we work with the district office, their procurement to be sure that we're maintaining the appropriate relationships within the scope of the contract. And then I work with the foundation to be sure that the foundation adheres to it. For better or for worse, our foundation is kind of small. I wish it, and I'm hoping it grows, but we work with them very closely. Contractual agreements, where'd I go? Oh man, I just skipped to Dr. Perez's. Should I talk about it? No? Okay. Now, liability. This is kind of my fun area where I put everybody to sleep, and I'll condense it for time-wise. The district has certain liabilities that they're responsible for, that you have to set money aside for. So just like you and I set money aside for our main priorities, food, housing, gas, utilities, the district has responsibilities to do that. So I'm going to kind of condense 11 through 15. One of the big obligations that this district has is called OPEBs. other pension employment benefits. Does anybody here plan on retiring? Okay. Does anybody plan on going to see the doctor when they retire? Right? Okay, that's pretty good. Dart, you're not planning? Dart's healthy. He's drinking his coffee, chilling over there. So this is where the accreditation team says and looks, are you planning effectively for the future? Now there's a law called GASB 45. It requires our institution and any other government institution to set aside money to meet its financial obligation for people that are retired, okay? So you got to get a chunk of money and you got to put it in the bank. Typically, people do the way I pay my bills is you go along, right? You got your bills paid for the end of the month. All right, let's start a whole new month of anxiety. Government organizations used to do that. Anybody hear of what happened up in Central California? You had a couple places that went bankrupt, right? A couple cities that went bankrupt. Compton went bankrupt here, USD, because they were playing that month-to-month game. The government said no more. You have to set aside a huge chunk of money and have a reserve to be able to meet your obligation for no less than 5 years. So you have to put 5 years of money, right? We all plan. The goal and objective is to have, 2 years of mortgage payment and stuff set aside, right? In our personal lives. Donna's saying more. What do you think? 2 is good? Well, we're required to have 5. So we have to set kind of this money aside. And that's something, these are really ones that they're going to be looking at the district. But we're doing pretty good. However, I think, and Ron's not here, but I think by the year, I believe it's 2017, it sounds far away, but it's next year. By the year 2017, this district will have more employees retired than active. So think about that. More employees retired than active. And we're responsible for the retirement and for their health insurance. So that's a huge financial encroachment. I can't believe I just locked it out. Kelly, you're messing me up here. Kelly's making me nervous standing over there. And my phone keeps going. I keep getting these texts, damn Daniel. Do you guys know what that is? No? Google it. It's nothing bad. It's some kid that kept making these little short videos about his friend, and he would just say, damn, Daniel. And he came out on Ellen or something, so everybody keeps texting me that. Yeah, I got friends that are bored. Okay. So liabilities. Contractual agreements, once again, we got to be sure that our procurement process, which is handled in the district, is done right. Every year there's a minimum threshold that we have to meet before we go out to bid. And even when we want to buy a box of pens, and Patty knows this, we have to go to a list. You and I can't do the practical thing. We have to buy off a certain list, and that's what this is. The one that has the biggest headache with this is Wally, because he does the most purchases. Right? Denise is saying, yeah, it's me, not him. Basically, it says you have to adhere to state procurement laws. And we do. Sometimes it's a hassle, but we do. And that's standard 3. I will add, and it's not here, but it's part of the evaluation. Standard 3D is one of the standards that also has federal regulations attached to it. So when the evaluation team comes, they're not only going to be evaluating these standards in the 16 areas that they covered, but they're going to pull out a separate list of federal regulations to see how we're doing with that in certain reports. Questions, comments? Everybody want to go? Besides Victor, questions? And your name, sir?
For the first time, is district office going through accreditation?
This is the first time ever.
Okay, how does if we reach our accreditation, how does a district, if they don't reach their accreditation, how does that affect the individual campuses?
That's a great question because that's undetermined. So this is the first time ever district office is going through accreditation. They've never done it before. And this last year was the first time ever. You know how I pull us into, the office and we do our SLOs and our SAOs and our plan? That's the first time they've ever had to do it. this is the first year that district is going through accreditation. So you have people like Jeanette Gordon, you know, we make fun of her, that's been here for 35 years, running $1 billion institution. 40 what? She's been here 40 plus years, runs $1 billion institution, and has never once gone through accreditation. So and then the accreditation team, they don't really know how they, I don't know. And then the other challenge with Standard 3A is, you know, we have a personnel commission that's technically they're separate from the district, right? And not subject to accreditation. They don't need accreditation, but yet they're an integral part of who we are. So how's that going to mix? So it's going to be a challenge. And as a matter of fact, today, I was at district today and I left. Everybody at district office today is doing what you guys are doing right now. But they had to go to a 4-hour training on accreditation. They're doing like a 4 or 5 hour training on what accreditation is. And so it's going to be interesting, Victor. The state's trying to figure it out. Everybody's trying to figure it out. You know, my concern is obviously like the finances and facilities, because we've had facilities issues as a district with the bond and what's happening, what's not happening. So how are they going to treat that? So, good question. That being said, Callie, are we dismissed?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, everyone. Before you leave, if you filled out those surveys for us, just leave them on your seat and we'll collect them. And then hopefully we'll see you guys next Tuesday at 12:30 on Standard 2. Thank you very much.